Hello, my name's George, and this is my thought for today. Friday just gone was the very last day at school ever for one of my children, the eldest one. Truly a momentous occasion. It's hard to put into words what it means for me as a parent and how it links to all sorts of other aspects of my life. I think about what has happened over those years and what God is calling me to be and to do now and on into the future. Today, the 31st of May, many churches remember the visit of Mary to her cousin Elizabeth when they were both pregnant. It fits in with the narrative leading up towards Christmas. This is a sensible amount of time after we marked the Annunciation to Mary at the beginning of her pregnancy on the 25th of March, 9 months ahead of our Christmas Day. We don't actually know any of the dates of these things, but we do know the pregnancy was 9 months. Elizabeth has also become miraculously pregnant, and it happens to her first, with the explanation of an angel, a baby who will be called John, and he will prepare the people for the coming of the Lord. Some months later, Mary, too, her cousin, has had a special message and a mysterious, unexpected pregnancy, and she will carry the Messiah, a very special task which she is yet to really understand. And so she goes to visit her older cousin, Elizabeth, we suppose, for support. We're not sure if she knew whether Elizabeth was pregnant. But when the two women meet, Elizabeth's baby, John, leaps about for joy inside her. He seems to recognize the baby in Mary's womb, Jesus. And then Elizabeth is filled with the Holy Spirit and is able to speak clearly about the immense significance of the baby that Mary will give birth to, and of just how special this task is for Mary. She is truly blessed. God's hidden plan and timetable lie behind the surface of our lives and the things that happen to us. We don't often sense it, but sometimes we as well can be filled with the Holy Spirit and enabled to speak clearly about God's will. In the New Testament book of Acts, this phrase, filled with the Holy Spirit, describes what happened often to followers of Jesus in the early church. Sometimes it was as they realized the truth about Jesus and turned to follow his way for the first time. Sometimes it was at other moments when there was a need for special insight or power. Now, you may or may not have a moment like that today. But perhaps you might make space to think about some of the special times in your life when it felt like that leaping for joy inside of you. Well, on Friday, we trawled back in the digital photos to find one of my son's first day at school. And then this led us on to other photos of special occasions or just ordinary moments that had become special at the time for some reason or other, and the camera had been brought out. Taking a picture is often something of a response to a leaping for joy feeling. Elizabeth and Mary must have been fairly confused about what was going on, but then later, years later, looking back in hindsight, after Jesus had died so horrifically and then been raised and appeared to people, and then how his followers were filled with the Spirit to be able to tell everyone that good news, they must have realized then, looking back, that God was at work in events throughout it all. Following Jesus includes accepting and seeking this guidance of God into our lives. Sometimes we can see this and it makes sense to us, but often we can't find sense and be at peace with what's happening to us. The way of Jesus is to go on wrestling with God, asking questions and seeking God's purpose for each one of us. A verse from St. Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 8, to finish. We know that all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. Thanks for listening.